Pipergate. What is Pipergate? CP grooming child abuse? Oh shit. That's a big ass fucking shit.
Extremely disturbing and bizarre channel. Notice the end of the videos. It's sick. Also the comments. I think it's huge. This was posted to Reddit back in December of 2020, along with a link to a channel known as Piper Rocks, a page seemingly run by a young girl who used the account to showcase her video editing skills. It was a premise that admittedly sounded both innocent and mundane, only there was something strange about the child who went by Piper. Her edits were bizarre, violent, and most of all, highly perverted, despite Piper being just a kid. It didn't take a trained eye to notice that something appeared very wrong with this account and its owner. But just how wrong it really was is something that maybe I wasn't prepared to discover, because the Piper Rocks channel was really just a scratch on the surface of a decades-old internet mystery and the beginning of a rabbit hole that takes us deeper than we've ever gone before. Before we dive into this, I want to first thank today's sponsor, Hunt a Killer.
I'm scared.
Now that life is heading back to somewhat normalcy,
This is a
and we're
YouTube
finally
rabbit
starting
hole,
to be able to
Pipergate.
see your mail, what you was over. Their select didn't offer much in the way of context to this mysterious channel, but in the comments beneath it, a user would share that they had found a similar account that was associated with Piper Rocks, as it featured the same distinct style of editing, along with the pages literally linking to each other. The second channel was called Isabel Piper, and in the year 2018, the young girl would post interchangeably across both accounts, and she did so at a very consistent rate until 2019 when she would abandon the two pages.
No.
Not much was known about the supposed girl running the channel, but throughout her uploads she would sprinkle in minor details about herself, at one point saying, "Please sub, I'm 10 years old and I make special effects." Something she was very adamant about across her page, as she was never trying to hide the fact that she was just a kid, essentially using the page to practice with her video editing, which would usually be something that's far from noteworthy,
Lazy
had it
twerk?
not been
No.
for the actual
is that?
contents of her videos.
Channel. I would love it if you subscribe to my channel and give this video a big
Oh, it's like an actual
thumbs
girl.
up for more awesome videos just like this one.
What the fuck? What the fuck?
The videos unfold in a meme-like format, with clips being thrown together in jarring and odd ways, and with each video bearing little similarity to the next. That is, minus the appearance of Piper herself, as well as a constant and disturbing air of sexualization.
Piper, do you remember me, Piper, please?
Some videos showcase crude humor that you would expect from a fully grown adult, and others feature much more disturbing edits.
What the
It was
fuck?
strange to say the least, but to solidify the feeling that something was in fact very wrong with this channel, one could simply look at the outro that she had adopted not long after starting her uploads.
Outro?
It's something that I'm choosing not to show you, and something that I don't suggest you seek out either, as essentially it's a revealing upward shot of a young girl wearing a small skirt. And though
What?
it doesn't quite qualify as CP, the suggestiveness of it is undeniable, as clearly it was meant to be sexual. And that is exactly how Piper's audience would perceive it. Commenters would say things like, "I love you, what's your Snapchat? LOL, you did it. You need some more booty shaking, but it was still good." And estoy enamorado, contactimonos, which although I definitely butchered, translates to "I'm in love, let's get in touch." And
What
it's
the
this
heck, man?
comment that to
Pedophile.
me proved to be the
Certified
most
lover
concerning,
boy?
as Piper would actually
Certified
respond by
pedophile.
saying,
Wop,
"Thank you
wop,
for
wop,
watching.
wop, wop."
How old are you?" To which the man simply says, 19. "And you?" Piper then says, "I am 11, leading to the conversation's end, with the commenter stating, "En el amor no hay edad," or,
What does that
"In
mean?
love, there is no age."
What the
The
fuck?
comments were few and far between on both of Piper's channels, though nearly every single one was flirtatious, despite Piper being 10 years old at the time of making the account.
Fuck, Piper.
Whether she knew it or not, this little girl was making content catered to some of the worst people that this planet has to offer. And it's likely that she had no idea she was doing so. I mean, how could she? She was just a kid, right? Understandably, people began to wonder who this girl actually was, along with what her story is. As if she genuinely was just a kid, then being in contact with people like this would clearly be a danger to her.
For real.
But it didn't take long for the cracks to start emerging. For starters, across Piper's videos, it's blatantly obvious that different girls are shown in many uploads, sometimes famous actresses, often from clips taken from The Amanda Show, as well as Lazy Town, while others are child YouTube stars, typically taken from their older uploads when they were at their youngest. And most strangely of all, Piper used a similar picture across the Isabel Piper and Piper Rocks account, with this girl being shown in a good chunk of uploads, and Piper herself claims that this is in fact her. This is Piper, though in reality it appears to be yet another child actress, and one who looks nothing like other videos that Piper also claimed to be of her.
Is that supposed to be a wiener?
It didn't add up, as not only did these girls clearly differ from each video, but most of these girls were easily identifiable as other people clearly not named Piper. The hole in these channels were undeniable. Piper could not have been who she claimed to be, but that didn't prove anything, as maybe Piper was just pretending to be these young girls,
trying to have a bad trip.
and
Hey,
using
good luck.
clips
Good luck,
just
Felix.
to practice her editing, or even fantasizing of being famous. However, any hope of that being a possibility seemed to end on March 25th, 2018, when she would upload the video, "In the Woods Editing My Video," which was the first time that Piper would reveal her voice.
Hi guys. Well, I was editing some of my videos
What?
and I forgot and left the camera on, so thought I'd upload it and show you guys. Hope you like it. See you later.
That's a
baby.
guy, bro.
Yeah.
Piper's voice was an obvious fake, and was clearly just someone making their voice sound higher, and then pitching it up in post-production. It sounded completely unnatural, and nothing like what you would expect from a 10-year-old girl. In fact, just pitching down the voiceover exactly 2 notches makes it sound much more realistic.
Well, I was editing some of my videos and I forgot and left the camera on.
And you can start to tell that it's seemingly a more mature and masculine sounding voice, clearly of someone attempting to sound childish and like a little girl. Between the lies
The food is good, bro.
told about who she actually was, and the jarring fake voiceovers, which would end up being used multiple times,
I thought you were the Candyman.
it left many
What?
questions, but one resounding truth, that Piper was not who she claimed to be, and in all likelihood she wasn't even a child. So essentially, what we have here is a person making hypersexual edits from clips of girls no older than 12 years old, while pretending to be a young girl themselves. All the while, creeps are flocking to the channel to hit on this person who they believe is a kid. The whole thing is a confusing mess of darkness.
How does YouTube
that
allow this
leaves
shit,
no
bro?
clear answers as to what is actually happening here. It was initially theorized that this could be some kind of catfish scam, potentially made so that the owner of the account could solicit relations with the people watching these videos, believing that this person was in fact a little girl. Or perhaps even more likely, these pages were set up to catch predators in the act, using these channels as their in to expose those actively pursuing relations with minors, which was honestly what I
bro.
hoped this was all about, as it seemed like the best
Does it get
case
deeper?
scenario. But with no leads and no mention of the channels across the web, it was really anyone's guess.
But does it get
However,
deeper, though?
upon finding the channel back in December, another mysterious set of channels had been gaining traction in the
Yeah,
early
that good food
months
was
of
good.
2021, and much to my surprise, the channels looked a lot like Piper's. In
my
total, as many as 6 to 8 other channels were found, posting the same
6 to
style
8?
of content, with the main ones being Piper Bynes, along with Christina Black and Nicole W., each of which featured the same
When you put
distinctly
it in a
crude
book,
style of editing
You
and
can
sexual
go
content.
crazy. the fuck?
And from the eye test alone, these channels were clearly related in some way to Isabel Piper and Piper Rocks, as they featured
Hop on
practically
baddies? What is
identical
baddies?
videos and subject matter, with the Piper Bynes channel having been active as recently as 3 months ago, while the Nicole W channel was active as far back as 10 years ago, further adding proof that Piper could not have been a child, as the whole timeline of this rabbit hole is older than a decade, and is still active as of 2021, so in all likelihood she could not have been 10 years old just a few years ago as she claimed. To me, this longevity totally removes.
Is it still up? Are the channels still up? Christina Black. Oh my god, it is! What? It's still up. What the fuck?
Supergirls last year, but I had to quit that in later October because I didn't have enough time to make my videos. Now that it's the new year and I have a lot more time to be rejoining set.
What the fuck?
Any thoughts of this being some kind of ARG, and it also casts doubt on the page
Maybe
having
don't
been
search
made
that.
to catch predators.
I'm making sure
as typically
this is
those
real.
operations wouldn't stretch out as long as this one had. Plus, I don't think this would really be the most effective way to do so to begin with. But if it all was real, if someone really was just making this content, then its true purpose must be something of great concern, a concern that had been felt far before me. Though I first became aware of this mystery back in December of this year, in reality it had been investigated nearly since its inception, making the rounds across Spanish YouTube, as well as being posted to various forum sites here and there, with many concerned about its deeper meaning. And out of all the sites that would host discussions about this ring of channels, the one that would take it most seriously would wind up being 4chan.
4chan.
There, interest would grow so large that a
it's
group
4chan.
would be set up solely for the purpose of investigating the matter in what they dubbed as Pipergate, with their research being
Pipergate.
cultivated into a 33-page report published back in August of 2020, where the true identity of Piper would be revealed.
True
In
identity?
the report,
No
the
way.
investigators would outline how they found the email
Noweezey, your
associated
fur's so
with the
soft.
Piper Bynes YouTube
fur's so
channel,
soft. You
along
had
with a
chicken, I
few
gave
other
you some.
accounts
No.
under the same
Noweezey,
name
no.
on both
I
Twitter
gave
and
you some.
Facebook, both of which
Do you guys see how greedy this dog is? I gave him a piece of chicken and look at him. You just want more, man. No. You still need to eat your dinner. He hasn't even ate his dinner yet. He's greedy.
having since been deleted. The group would then perform a reverse search on the email, leading them to a man named William Glenn Whitaker, who, with some more
way.
digging, was found to have a plethora of other emails, with those being directly affiliated to the Nicole W. and
No
Christina
fucking
Black
way.
channels, along with the Isabel Piper and Piper Rocks channels as well, the channels where I began to fall down this rabbit hole. Our suspicions were correct. These pages were not run by a 10-year-old girl. They were not run by Piper, and instead they were run by William Whitaker, a 65-year-old man. He was behind these sexualized videos. He was the one
the
taking clips
fuck?
from little girls' YouTube channels and using them for his disturbing edits and pretending to be them. And somehow, it only
What the
gets worse from
fuck?
here, as William wasn't just your typical old man making memes on the internet for fun. In fact, he was a felon, having been arrested back in 2002 after being caught with CP.
No
William
way.
Glenn Whitaker was a registered sex offender, and he still is to this day. But the story doesn't end there, as this wouldn't be the end of William's legal troubles. Upon his release in the Tampa area, William would stay local and pick up a new line of work as he started his own talent agency that went by the name of Wizard Productions Modeling Agency,
and he took care of
with
kids,
his
huh?
specialization being in child stars.
I
He
fucking
would
knew
lure
it.
in families with the promise of stardom and connections to the music industry, something that would both excite parents and children alike. With this, he would then bring the children to his home and record them singing and dancing, with the promise that the tapes would then
What?
be sent to higher-ups in the music industry. But in reality, William had no connections. All he was a sex offender, and given his status, the business was completely unlicensed, a total scam, and was 100% illegal. He had set the whole thing up to obtain these tapes. What he did with those recordings is something that is still unknown to this day, though it has been theorized that he likely used them for his own personal use, as well as potentially having sold them to other people in the area, as well as across the web,
Yeah,
an
how the
idea
fuck
that
do
seemed to
people
have
fall
been
for this?
insinuated in the news report. The lies would eventually catch up to William in 2005, as the police busted the operation and forced him to close his doors on Wizard Productions. Though oddly enough, it never seemed like he was given any jail time for this, and it seemed his
crazy.
only real legal repercussion was having to close the business, despite his literal
That's crazy.
history with CP. Because of
fuck?
this, William was released to the public,
Police.
having been practically unheard of since. Well, that would be until he'd make his start on YouTube, with the bizarre set of channels that we know today.
Police,
The report
bro.
was scathing, and most importantly, accurate, as I performed a background search on William myself, and the emails matched exactly. I mean, one of his was literally called Piper Rocks Hard, clearly in reference to
What?
the account he had made. With that in mind, perhaps the most worrying part of these channels is the fact that many of the girls that William has been showcasing most recently are YouTubers, most of which with minimal subscribers, and the vast majority, if not all of them, have their channels centered around music, with them all appearing to have dreams of making it big in the industry.
Oh shit. What the fuck?
Which is worrisome, as this just so happens to be the same industry that William had preyed on before. Plus, to make the whole situation just that much worse, a decent amount of William's videos have made it onto YouTube Kids, literally
No
putting William in
fucking way.
front of both predators and children alike. But even after all this,
Bro, how the
and
fuck
through
is
all the
YouTube
twists
allowing
and
this shit?
turns, there is still one glaring question. Why? Why was William doing this? What was he gaining from making these videos? That, for now, is the question that has yet to have a definite answer. In the 4chan report, it was theorized that this whole thing was a front for distributing CP, something that, given William's history, is definitely possible.
Joker, no.
The investigators claim that this was done using a series of links posted within the description of the channel's uploads, while using the comment section to initiate the transaction, in which the predators would be invited into a mega chat room dedicated to sharing CP. And that was just half the operation. The rest would take place on Twitter, where William too had fake Piper accounts, only these ones were far more suggestive than any of his videos. On these accounts, commenters would flock to leave their flirtatious messages behind, a few of whom the 4chan report had proven to be predators. Because of this, it was again theorized that CP was somehow being distributed throughout these social media outlets, as both clearly housed numerous creeps. But for me, this is far from a solidified conclusion, as the links supposedly used in the description of the video are no longer there, potentially having been removed after the report was released. Though despite this, William continued posting his usual content for nearly a year after, without the use of this apparent elaborate system, which does cast doubt on this theory, as what would his incentive be to keep posting? And unfortunately, no tangible proof was offered showing any one of these alleged chat rooms. And along with this, the Twitter accounts that William used are long gone, having been suspended around the time of the report. But through the screenshots that are shown, it
Wait,
honestly
YouTube couldn't
just
get
seems
rid of
like a
the
bunch
channels?
of predators trying to hit on a child, with the investigators themselves stating that they're not sure how this system works. And with the accounts now gone, at the moment it's unfortunately impossible to verify its true purpose. For those reasons, it's a theory that I can't fully buy into, and not to mention the unfortunate truth that there are much easier and far less obvious ways of sharing CP. And though it's horrible to think about, it's no secret that CP is easier than ever to both send and receive through countless means across the web. But at the moment, I'm also struggling to buy this theory, for the reason that despite the whole cover being supposedly blown, and the system on YouTube being quote-unquote figured out, William just kept making these videos. He never missed a beat. And with that system of links being no longer used, at least as of this year, well, that points to the idea that William isn't doing this for other people, but rather he's doing it for himself. That makes me wonder if perhaps this is all just a kink for him, a disgust.
That's fucking weird. Bro, if you really think about it, it's really fucking weird that, like, the word fucking CP, like, what that means. The fact that that's even, like, a fucking, like, a concept, you know, like, that's in, like, people are fucking weird. Like, that is nasty. Like, that even just being a fucking concept, CP. Like, that being, like, those two fucking words going together, CP, what they stand for, like, that's fucking crazy. Do better, humans.